I got something to show you guys. Y'all ready for this? What's that? Yeah, finally, the boat update video. I know you guys have been dying for it. Look at that tower. Look at that second set of controls up there. What? Woo! I meant to do this boat update video sooner. It's been terribly windy. It's still windy today, but you know what? I've already gone fishing 2 times. I went offshore twice already. I'm actually just getting the boat ready. Got my rods on it for trip number 3, and I thought, I gotta make the boat review video. Windy or not, I got my wind mic on the camera. Hopefully it'll be okay. So about a little over 2 months ago, before this whole coronavirus thing happened, my old 2004 Mercury engine blew up on me. That was a 200 horsepower. It would have cost more to fix than it was worth. Even if I would have fixed it, I'm not gonna run to Bimini on an old 2-stroke engine. I'm just not gonna do it. So I thought, you know what? It's time to upgrade my engine. And I did a lot of shopping around. I talked to Yamaha, I talked to Suzuki, I spoke with Mercury, I went to the boat shows, I looked at all the engines. And then I walked into the Evinrude booth and I met Jack from SeaPower. And boy, did a beautiful relationship blossom upon that introduction. So next thing I know it, I'm at SeaPower, which is located in Kendall, Miami. I gave Jack a list that it was definitely longer than it should have been of issues I was having with my boat. We shook hands and the adventure began. And despite all the coronavirus pandemic and issues, Jack and his team we're still able to get her done. She's sitting here now, and I have never seen something that looked so good. All my expectations were they weren't just met, they were just shot over. I actually wrote down everything that they did so I don't forget in this video because they just did so much. Take a little hopsy on down. Whoop. Oh yeah, a new cooler too. Beautiful, wow. This is a different beast. So the very first thing that I did was after I dropped my boat off at SeaPower, I had to decide on an engine. And I was going to get to the 200 high output G2 Evinrude. This boat is max rated for a 250. So I thought, why not get the 250 then? Bam, there she is. But that's not where the story starts. I dropped the boat off. Jack is the guy to call. They had so many engines there. But before we slapped the engine on, I told Jack, I really want a tower on my boat. If y'all remember my old tower with the teal top and on top of something that I could see Mahi from. And without hesitation, Jack hooked me up with his buddy from Marine Welding Fabricators. I didn't even have to do anything. I dropped my boat off with Jack. I told him I wanted a new power, and he drove my boat over to Marine Welding Fabricators, told them what I wanted. Marine Welding Fabricators called me up, drew a sketch of what it's gonna look like, and I said, heck yes, slap that on there. And before I knew it, and in record time, they welded it together. I told them it was beautiful and they slapped it on the boat. And then Jack went and picked it up and brought my boat back to SeaPower. So now my boat has the new tower on it and it's ready for SeaPower to do its magic. So the very first thing that we did was we took the old Mercury off and we re-bottom painted the boat. And I actually had a chance to go over to SeaPower and help them out with that, which was awesome because I got to be part of the experience. We scraped all the old barnacles off, pressure washed it, and repainted the bottom. Once the bottom paint was on, it was time to put on the new Evinrude 250 high output G2 engine. And man, when I looked into the box for the very first time, I just was so excited. When you compare this to my old engine, this thing is so beautiful and it's so clean. There's just one tube with all the controls, and the controls are integrated. The steering is integrated into the engine. So my old engine, you had all these steering, your C-Star hydraulic steering, it takes up all this room here. But with the Evinrude, it's all in here. So your engine is sitting off the back of your boat. So you have all this extra room here. That is one awesome thing that I thought Evinrude did. And the controls. Now this control panel, these are the controls right here. And before, this control panel looked absolutely terrible. The whole thing was stripped off and it was time for a complete new makeover. This is what it looked like before, and this is what it looks like now. Here's the Evinrude control. You know, very simple, very smooth, very beautiful. I also have the Evinrude gauge to where if I turn it on, this will turn on. So all my stats are in there. You can see my engine oil is 100%. My fuel level right now is 67%. This gauge tells me everything. Oil levels, engine levels, miles per gallon, miles per hour, my speed, RPM. Another cool thing about the Evinrude is I can increment the RPMs up. So if I'm trolling and I want to go a little bit faster, instead of trying to mess with the throttle to get it going a little bit, there's a little plus button right here. This little plus button. I believe it's 50 RPM increments, so if I push that button 3 times, the RPM goes up by 150. So that's real. I didn't think I was going to use it at first, but I've already been trolling twice, and I'm using that thing the whole time. I'm like, oh, we got to troll a little bit faster. I just push it. You know, it's so simple rather than trying to mess with the controls. Beautiful. Oh! I am going to do an entire engine review video with all the performance and specs and miles per gallon and miles per hour and top speed and speed at the different RPMs. I'm going to do a full-on Evinrude video, but I want to use the Evinrude for at least a couple months before I go and talk about it. I gotta walk the walk before I talk the talk. Okay, what else? What else? Where's my list? Where's my huge list of stuff? Yes. So the controls were put on. There is a second set of controls up in the tower, and we'll take a look at that right now. To get in the tower, I just unzip that. Unzip that. This comes down. Tuck that right up there. And there you go. So what I found the easiest, there's ladders. You can step on these ladders here and pull yourself up in here in the side, but what I found is the easiest is to step on the cooler and then I just go right up here. It's a little hard doing holding a big camera, but just like that, and then I stand up. Pow! So up here you have a great view on. Let me tell you a little bit something about the view up here, and you're gonna see this in an upcoming fishing video. But I was up here probably doing about 35, 40 miles an hour. This boat, little spoiler alert, I was doing 50 miles an hour on this boat with the new engine. The old engine, I was only doing about, I would top out I think at 36, 34 miles an hour. I hit 50 doing this on this sucker. 50 miles per hour. And guess what? That's not even fine-tuned. I still gotta tune this engine. I can get more out of it. And that's why the engine review video won't actually be till later when I really tune the snot out of this thing. Up here, I have the same set of controls, got a nice steering wheel, and I have the Simrad Evo 3 9-inch unit. Originally, I was gonna put the 9-inch Simrad downstairs, but I got a little story on why I have such a big Simrad unit downstairs. Yeah, this is my cruise station up here. I got 2 rod holders right here and here. I got a nice cushion so I can actually sit up here. You don't want to be sitting here when you're driving 40 miles an hour. So I prefer to stand, be nice and secure up here. Here's my radio antenna, my VHF. That pops up. I got my anchor light right here. I also have a little cubby here. I have some water in there. Got my binoculars in here and whatever else I might need. I still haven't fully set this boat up exactly the way I want it yet, just because there's so much going on, so many exciting things. All right, back to my list. Where are we at now? All right, what happened after the controls and the new Evinrude? Oh yeah, the new electronics, the new wiring. Do y'all remember what my wiring used to look like in here?
It's a medium messy wiring job, but it gets the job done, and I actually know what every wire here does. Believe it or not.
Oh, let me show y'all. Look at that. I got one battery here. My other battery is there. I got my ditch bag, I got some spare gas, some spare parts. I still got to clean that up. SeaPower also added a USB charger in there. I can switch the batteries on and off, and that wiring job is so good looking. I can't believe how good of a job they did on wiring. And do y'all remember the problem I had in my boat where I would have water sitting on my deck and I couldn't get the water off of my deck? And part of the problem was my battery was back here. So my boat kind of sat sideways in the water because of the battery was so heavy on one side of the boat. So they actually rewired that whole battery, and now both of my batteries are inside my center console unit right in there. This is my new ICOM VHF radio, my kicker amplifier for the sound system, and all the wiring is just cleaned up. I mean, look how clean it is. It runs along here to this battery. This speaker's wired up, and my ICOM, this plugs in right here. The way this works is I just stick it on right there. I plug this in here. Bam, bada, bang, and there you go. VHF ready to go. And then we have the kicker audio system and the 12-inch Simrad unit right here. And I can't believe that SeaPower made this unit fit on here. It was real tough to get it because of how tight it is. So originally the 9-inch unit from up top was gonna go down here, but I gotta give a huge thank you to Atlantic Radio Telephone. They hooked me up with this huge Simrad unit, and we're planning an episode together where I'm gonna take Atlantic Radio Telephone offshore, and he's gonna show me exactly all the specs about the Simrad. He's gonna talk a little bit more about what they do. That's where that Simrad came from. That's why it's so big, and SeaPower made it fit. SeaPower always makes it fit. Okay. And they also put in a kicker audio system. SeaPower has connections all over the place. So they hooked me up with the tower. SeaPower hooked me up with kicker. SeaPower can hook me up with electronics, a new engine, and they're really the one-stop shop. And they hooked me up with the kicker audio sound system. Let's take a look at that. We have one 12-inch kicker here, and then we have an 8-inch, another 8-inch. They screwed this in and they wired all of this. Another 8-inch there, and then the other kicker on this side. So that's 5 speakers total. I've been on a lot of boats rigged with expensive jail audio systems, and maybe I'm biased because I have a kicker system now, but the price is awesome and the sound is primo. It's a primo sound. None of the speakers rattle. None of them have a weird like broken bass. It's bass in your face. This thing gets so loud. Should I play something for you? Let me pull up my phone and turn this system on real quick. Come on, come on. Oh yeah, I gotta turn Bluetooth on. There we go. How about a little something with more bump? Alright, I gotta pause that before my neighbors get upset and YouTube demonetizes me for copyright. This system bumps. That's all I gotta say about it. If you don't believe me, come find me at the sandbar. This thing will blow you away. I was just playing that sound system at 30 volume, and I've actually never gone over 40 volume, and I think it goes all the way up to 100. I think it's 100, but oh, and there is one other thing I almost forgot. Good thing I made a list. The Simrad unit, I got a new transducer, and this transducer, if you don't know what a transducer is, it's basically the sonar unit that reads the bottom. It sends signals down to the bottom, they come back up, and that's how you read bottom and mark fish and all that. But my transducer, please don't drop this camera, Heiko. I'm holding it over the water. There it is, right there. It's huge. It's a fat daddy. It's the Airmar B275, I believe it is. That transducer right there will probably melt your brain if you swim under it. The reason I got such a big transducer is So when I go sword fishing, I can read the bottom better. My last transducer, it didn't really read bottom after 1,400 feet. And sword fishing, I need to read the bottom up to like 1,800, 2,000 feet. So that was a big reason I got the big boy transducer back there. Some of y'all might be wondering, why didn't I get a through hole transducer instead of a transom transducer? I don't know, they cost the same and I didn't have to drill a hole in the back of my boat. And I was doing 40, 50 miles an hour and that transducer is not splashing water up on the engine or anything, and I'm still reading bottom going about 30 miles an hour. So I didn't have to drill a hole at the bottom of my boat. It works perfect, and I'm happy with the transom mount transducer. Onwards with my list of epicness. Kicker, oh, new hatches. So in some older videos, I had old hatches up here that were basically rotting away. When I'd be going like 30 miles an hour, I've had the hatch come off of here and fly right over my head and almost decapitate me. New hatches. Freak yeah, they look good. All new hatches. I already got some scuff marks on them because of my boots, but they come right out. I bought a pressure washer, so all these scuffs come out of the boat real easy. Boom, another hatch right there, another hatch right there, and then another hatch right there. I got new controls on my trim tabs. You can hear them working, but those control. There's my trim tab, one of them. And there's the other trim tab, that black thing in the water. My old trim tabs, well, those are still my old trim tabs, but they weren't working. And SeaPower took them apart, they cleaned them out. Apparently they were full of salt, corrosion, and gunk, and a bunch of nasty stuff. But they cleaned them out, they rewired the whole thing. They put new buttons on it because the old buttons were a little broken. Boom, brand spanking new. They work perfect. Oh, I'm getting shivers just thinking about all these upgrades. Oh, and you want to know an upgrade that I'm really happy about? The new washdown pump. So they installed a washdown pump for me, which is located right here. Bam! Look at that! Wash my boat down. When we catch all those mahi and the boat gets covered in blood, I take out my little hose and I quickly clean it off so we don't get all the dry blood splatter everywhere here. Ooh, another thing, almost forgot. If you remember, the old oil filter used to be right here and it took up a big chunk of space. But they went ahead and they moved the oil filter inside of this cabinet. This is where the old battery used to be, right in here. They cleaned it up, new cover on this. Super clean. Everything is just, it's nicer than a new boat, honestly. Or I would say it's equally nice as a brand new boat. I keep forgetting there's more and more things. Lights. I got light here, light here. When I had the tower built, they added the inserts where you can add the lights up here, up front. They added an insert. They also added a space for me to add future outriggers if I choose to do so, but I personally feel like outriggers just get in the way, so I'm not going to bother with them right now. And SeaPower went ahead and wired all of this, wired all the lights on. They wired all the controls up there. I got this little cup holder here. This thing comes on and off. I really like, look at the grip on this thing. It's a real nice grip to hold on when you're going real fast. When that Evinrude is pumping and you can barely hang on because you're going so fast, this grip right here, that's a lifesaver. Love it. Why don't I fire up the engine? All right, and to turn on the Evinrude, all you do is turn the key. Just like that. And there it is, it's on, it's running. Here's another feature of the Evinrude. You see this little thing? You attach your hose to it, so after a day of fishing, you just come, pop your hose right on there, and it'll flush your engine out. And there's a cover that goes on top of this, so you don't have to, this is all hidden when I'm actually running the boat. I just have the cover taken off right now. I love you! I'm not planning on getting into the whole why did I buy an Evinrude in this video, because there's so much to talk about when it comes to the actual Evinrude. This is a 2-stroke engine. You don't have to do oil changes on it every 150 hours, 100 hours if you have like a Yamaha, because you just pour the oil in and it burns the oil. And since I leave my boat in the water, I don't have to take my boat out of the water all the time for an oil change, which saves me a lot of time. There is also no break-in period, which means as soon as I put this boat in the water, I got up on plane and I freaking ran. Full speed, baby. I was able to go fishing the first day that I put my boat in the water. There's no break-in period. It's a beast. And the fuel economy on this thing, that's something we're gonna get into in a different video. But when I was trolling, I was doing about 5 to 6.8 miles to the gallon. When I'm running top speed, I'm doing about 2.3 up to 2.8 miles to the gallon, which that is a lot. I hardly use any fuel on this thing. Hey, yeah, baby. What else do I need to talk about? I actually plan on going fishing today, and I've spent about 2 hours now just walking around my boat trying to remember everything to talk about. So I need to go get offshore. You guys want to see how this boat runs? I say we go take it for a spin right now. Oh, actually, wait. Turn that engine off. There is one thing before we go for a run, and that's the boat wrap. The tower, everything, the engine, the controls, everything on this boat is so beautiful now, thank you SeaPower, that I had to get a wrap. A beautiful, sexy, appealing wrap to go along with it. So I went over to Live Colors Miami, gave them a design that my buddy Austin made, and they perked up the design, they added some things to it, and they printed out a boat wrap for me. They installed the boat wrap. I actually made an entire video about how to get your boat wrapped. That was slapped on there, and boy, does my boat look good with that wrap on it. That was the final touch that I was craving, and that I am so glad I got. People can recognize the boat. It's branded. It looks great. From the outside, from the inside, from the top side, from the bottom side, she looks wonderful, and I couldn't be happier. There's so many people that I want to thank. Thank you, SeaPower. Y'all made it. SeaPower made this whole thing happen. If you need anything done, call up SeaPower and just talk to them, and they'll either do it for you or they'll point you in the right direction. Thank you, SeaPower. And thank you, Marine Welding Fabricators, for building this awesome tower. This tower, it's always been a dream of mine to have a tower on my boat. It's something else. When you can look down from a height like that and run along weed lines and see mahi and stuff, it's something else being up there. And I think every boat I will ever have in the future will have a tower on it. It's an absolute must for me. Another huge thanks to Atlantic Radio Telephone for hooking me up with this huge, I'm talking about huge Simrad unit. This thing is huge. Beautiful. Huge thanks. We got some videos coming out together too. Huge thanks to Kicker for hooking me up with these speakers, and huge thanks to SeaPower for installing this beautiful Kicker audio system. I'm telling you, Kicker audio, that's where it's at. And thank you, Live Colors Miami, for wrapping this boat for me. Looking so good. Oh, and thank you, Evinrude. Evinrude, baby. We got some serious Evinrude videos, collaborations coming out. Those are gonna be fun. I really hope I'm not missing anyone from my thank you list. If I miss anyone that has helped me along the way, don't worry. There are tons of episodes coming out, and she is gonna be featured in all of them. Oh, and another big shout out to Extreme Outdoors. They really helped me along with this process. Joe from Extreme Outdoors. We went fishing on his boat a few times while my boat was being rebuilt. They have some land that I'm gonna start doing some hunting on. We got some collaborations with them to do some dual trips out to Bimini and the Tortugas for fishing. So if you don't already follow Extreme Outdoors on YouTube, give them a follow, because I got a lot of collaboration videos coming up with them. Extreme Outdoors, Joe, cheers. Jack from SeaPower, you made it happen, man. You know what? Enough talking. Let's turn this puppy on and take her for a spin, because it's game time. snap of a finger, I'm Evinrude Pro staffed out, and let's turn this engine on. Woohoo! She's on! You know, I will say though, I miss all that smoke of my old two-stroke. This two-stroke doesn't smoke at all. What kind of two-stroke doesn't smoke? This technology, it's beyond me. Woo! Pops up on plane right away.